Our top story this hour, a slew of countries have accused Russia of cyber hacking the Hague's chemical watchdog organization, as well as several other agencies. On Thursday, the U.S. Justice Department announced charges against 7 alleged Russian GRU agents it claims hacked multiple U.S. and international institutions.
Thank you all for joining us today as we announce an indictment charging 7 Russian military officers with violations of several U.S. criminal laws for malicious cyber activities against the United States and its allies. A short while ago, the Dutch Minister of Defense and the United Kingdom's National Security Advisor held a joint press conference announcing a recent intelligence operation against several Russian agents conducting a clandestine mission in The Hague.
This move by the Trump administration follows accusations by the Netherlands, Canada, and United Kingdom made only hours prior, all relating to hacking. This morning, UK Foreign Minister Gavin Williamson called Russia a pariah state and seemed to foreshadow fresh accusations of Russian cyber attacks would soon be in store.
This is not the actions of a great power. This is the actions of a pariah state, and will continue working with allies to isolate them and make them understand they cannot continue to conduct themselves in such a way.
Hours later, the Netherlands announced it had identified 4 Russian intelligence agents it claimed targeted the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, or OPCW. Dutch officials said a plot was foiled and the men expelled back in April. Officials also said that Russian hackers tried to access files related to the downing of Malaysia Airlines Flight 17. Why exactly the Dutch decided to make this public today as opposed to back in April seemed unclear until 3 other NATO countries came forward with almost identical accusations nearly simultaneously. Here's what we know. After the Dutch came forward with these accusations, the UK's ambassador to The Hague claimed Russian intelligence officers also hacked the British Foreign Office in March, as well as the Democratic National Committee here in the United States in 2016. The United States charged 7 alleged Russian GRU officers with hacking the OPCW, the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, the World Anti-Doping Agency, and a Pennsylvania-based nuclear power company. The U.S. also implied Russia carried out a cyber attack against the Swiss chemical lab, which analyzed samples in the Skripal poisoning case. Canada added its voice to the chorus of anti-Russia sentiment, saying it has high confidence in its allies. Meanwhile, Russia's ambassador to the UK tells RT the Russian government offered former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson full cooperation with investigations into hacking.
Sergei Lavrov, Russian foreign minister, offered him to have a consultations on the cybersecurity, and he said that if you have any questions in connection with the alleged Russian activity, we can put the specialists from 2 countries, sit down on the table and discuss professionally what are the concerns of the British side. The British refused to do this, and instead of that they launched reckless attacks on us without any evidence.
With Russian hacking in question, we're joined now by Executive Director of the Ron Paul Institute, Daniel McAdams. Welcome to In Question, Daniel. These charges seem obviously coordinated. Why do you think this is happening now?
Well, it's exciting. The Russians are very busy. They're hacking everything. You know, I should start by saying I have no idea whether they hacked the OPCW. Some say they hacked the anti-doping organization. I even read yesterday that they hacked the latest Star Wars film to make everyone not like it. I have no idea whether this is true or not. We do know that, in fact, among us grown-ups, that intelligence agencies of all countries hack into other countries' capabilities. So the idea that the UK, of all places, would jump up and down and scream, oh my gosh, someone is hacking us, is pretty foolish, considering especially that they're building a brand new facility to do just that. So I think this is quite a bit of theater, and as you point out, very coordinated for a propaganda purpose.
But why now?
Well, I think one good reason is that, as you probably know, the NATO defense ministers are having a meeting this week. Jens Stoltenberg, the NATO Secretary General, announced back in June that they're starting a new cyber operations center to address this very exact thing, all this hacking going on. So NATO is an organization that's desperately in search of a purpose to continue paying lots of very big salaries, and Stoltenberg is one of the biggest anti-Russia people. So I think this is perfect theater for the gathering of the defense ministers for this NATO summit.
We're being told Russians hacked multiple agencies. You mentioned the OPCW as well as the World Anti-Doping Agency. Why would Russia have interest in tapping into these agencies?
Well, there certainly is a legitimate interest. I'm sure the U.S. taps into them as well. They probably want to know what's going on with the OPCW, the conclusions of the OPCW. This is assuming, of course, that they did it, have a very direct bearing on Russia. This is what intelligence agencies do. They seek information. They seek information on the MH17 flight because the Dutch haven't been very forthcoming nor cooperative on getting to the bottom of who did it, particularly in light of the fact that we've learned some very new information in the past few weeks that would suggest it's not the conclusion. So there are legitimate reasons of state for intelligence services to try to gain information. The real issue is the way this is being done, the coordinated, as you point out, very, very open press conferences,
right,
trying to divert attention.
Do you think they're serious about taking on the issue of cybersecurity, these NATO defense ministers? And if they were, what should they do?
Well, it's a great jobs program, and NATO, again, as someone once said at the end of the Cold War, NATO has to go out of theater or go out of business, and that is indeed the case. So they've identified a new shiny object to justify lots more defense spending, and that certainly is the case. Obviously, NATO should go out of business, as did the Warsaw Pact at the end of the Cold War. It has no purpose for continuing to exist other than to create problems that it pretends to solve.
We're going to leave it there for now. Executive Director of the Ron Paul Institute, Daniel McAdams, always a pleasure. Hope to talk to you soon again.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.